Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to 100 Days Making Comics, where for whenever I can, I'll be writing, inking, lettering, coloring, penciling, doing something to further my goals to become a comic book artist, get a good portfolio together, and hopefully have a comic book finished within 100 days, which I've, scrapped that and changed that to 100 uploads. Oh, I'm a cheater, pumpkin eater. But anyway, I kind of wanted to fill everybody in on my current progress. This is video number 95. Video 95. Um, uh, I usually have a lot that I want to say, but I try to keep my videos not as long because I know that not everybody has that time of kind of time to spare. These days. Um, let's see. Where should I start here? Well, okay. Page 23. You've seen this page, and I won't talk too much about this page because most of you've already seen it. But just been tinkering here and there. No major changes for the most part. In this top panel, a few things, added a few more details, and I probably still will add a couple more details to this face to make it more palatable to my eyes. If that makes sense. Even though this panel ain't perfect, other than taking an eraser to a few things, clean it up a little bit, I'm pretty happy with this panel overall. I mentioned that before. And this one's pretty good too. But I'm not finished with it. I need to go in and add a few details. I'm not sure about the positioning of the pupils. I think the conversation layout that I got is sort of odd. I mean, it works, but it's also odd. I don't know. I'll leave that up to the reader and for all of you to decide whether the layout I've done for this conversation piece works, because I always try to be mindful of where my pupil placement is. For example, she's looking at Wildcat sitting there, and here's his arm, and I'm trying to show that he's sitting right here. So obviously her pupils will be in that direction. He is sitting the opposite end of her, and so I'm just assuming that she's going to be sitting somewhere in this direction. But it may not work as well, with the way his pupils are looking, or maybe I could just leave it alone just the way it is, and finish a few things up. And in this, I really like this. Pretty cool. Moving on from that, let's talk about my least favorite page, which is page 24. And I'll talk about what I like about it, and then I'll get into what I don't like about it. I like the layout of this page overall. I'm not like super thrilled about it or anything like that, but I like the concept of this first panel. Not so much the execution of it, but the concept of it, because I don't know if I did my job right, but this is the girl, the fox. There's her hair. It's all mangled and stuff, and because she just woke up, and this is the back end of her hoodie. And here, Wildcat's having a conversation with her. So I like how the concept that I got going on there. I'm not too sure in the execution, so I have to tinker with it some more to get it more to my liking, Again, this is another thing not too sure about. Probably would be better to have this panel to be more of a I don't know if establishing shot is the right word, but more, features all three of the characters, in the shot. But I might be able to get away with it the way it is. In the background, I'll add um, all the details of the furniture and the kitchen and stuff like that. Um, I was having a little bit of trouble with the rendering. The girl's friend, the fox's friend, he's supposed to be a young guy. I mean, he's not like super young, but anytime you put a beard on somebody, when you render a beard, it instantly adds a couple of years, And I've met a couple of people in my life that have beards that are young dudes, and they still look like young dudes. Not all of them, but quite a few. And so it's kind of hard, to capture that ideal. Come on, zoom a little bit. There we go. So I started adding some extra cross-hatching, rendering type stuff to flesh it out a little bit, because it was very bare bones, and so I was trying to spruce it up, trying to figure, because it just wasn't coming together right. So now we get to these three panels here in the midsection, and of these three, this middle one is my favorite, because it's just it has that something that I'm going for, that natural vibe, and I think it's fairly consistent with this image here. This looks like the same person, so I like that. I actually accomplished something fairly cool. A consistency, at least with two panels. I don't know about the rest of it though. And so I like the natural vibe that I'm putting out a little bit. I'm getting slightly better. And I don't know. I thought about putting her hand, maybe putting her hands together here, as if she's just kind of like cusping her hands, and she's just really excited. Or it could be she's just pressing her hands flat on the table, pushing herself up, or just any. It doesn't matter, It's just that expression, that body language that you see in the panel. I think is pretty cool. Here, this is turning out all right so far. Of all the bandaged Wildcat panels I've done so far, this one and this one have come out fairly well so far. So, which, none of this stuff is done, okay, by the way, but, still working on it, still have to work on the face and all this other stuff. Which brings us to the fox's friend here. And I thought about it, and there's an awful lot of hands in the faces, because we've got in this panel, he's got his hand in the face, and then on the previous page, if I don't spill the Pepsi, hand in the face. So lots of hand in the faces. And so originally I had kind of sketched it out that he's drinking his beverage, and I may change that and actually remove his hand and put it right over here, and it's awful blurry. There we go. Put his hand here instead, with a finger pointing out and fingers grasping, boom, boom, boom. He's got his drink right here. Thinking about doing that instead. And so that way I can get more of an expression here, I think it's going to look cooler, and it's going to add a little bit more naturalness to the page, despite my really bad amateurish renderings here. I'm very disappointed in myself. It's really my first time doing a serious attempt to draw bandages on somebody's face and trying to make it look cool or whatever, and it's just Not happening. It's just not happening. I got to figure it out. And then also, figuring this stuff out, Charles Xavier with a beard. So now we get to the bottom panels, which interesting bit about that. I think I've showed this before with, the entity in space flying into North America. And this is going to be like stars and stuff, and so that should look pretty cool, whenever it's inked. Now let's talk. Let's talk about this monstrosity and what the deal is with this. Okay, so this really rough looking bit of business is actually a bird's eye view of my hometown, and I wanted to put some Kentucky in this, and I was having trouble kind of getting started drawing this on the page. And so what I did was I took some tracing paper and I actually stuck it on the screen of my laptop, and I taped it up. Okay, I taped it up. I took me an ink pen, actually 2 or 3 different ink pens, because some of it was smear, sometimes it would just lines were too thick. I never did find like a good little mix. I did forget to use my big fancy pens. I never used any of these for whatever reason, but I was just trying to hurry and get done, But anyway, so I took and actually, did like very crude tracing of these buildings and cars and odds and ends from a bird's eye view off of my screen on my laptop. And once I got the bulk of it, I just took it out, and I couldn't find a pair of scissors, so I had to use my handy dandy case knife, which is actually very sharp. Cut all this out. Took me some tape and just stuck it on here. Now, this is upside down. Why is this upside down? Oh gosh, I know it's going to be upside down now. That's going to be terrible. I hope the whole video ain't upside down. I'm going to have to start over. But anyway, so what I plan on doing is I have 1 or 2 options. I can get some clear tape or some type of glue and then just glue this on here. Tidy up this panel over here to where it looks flush with this one a little bit somehow. Actually draw in this big empty space up here. Actually draw some more to flesh it out. And then when I go to ink this page, what I'm going to do with all these pages, I'm going to take and get them photocopied into big 11 by 17 papers, and I'll ink those, and this will look flush, with the page, with the photocopy page, so you won't even tell that this was cut and pasted, when it's all said and done. Or I can take another route and actually transfer the image on by I guess maybe shading the back of it with a pencil, and then tracing, and then peeling this piece of paper up, and then having that stuff transfer on the bottom, and then kind of cleaning it up since it will be with pencil now, and making my buildings a little bit more straighter and stuff, which actually some of you may disagree with this, but there's that camera acting weird again. Quit that. But I really do like the crudeness of it, oddly enough, even though you can't tell exactly everything that's going on. I don't know, I just like it. It kind of looks very artish. I like the crudeness of it for some reason. Yeah, but that's just me. So let me zoom out here. Hopefully I haven't botched this whole video with my shenanigans. So that's where I'm at. This is page 24. I still got a lot of work to do. I haven't sketched out the next couple pages for what happens when this thing lands. Now I could just put at the bottom corner of this to be continued and let this issue kind of end like that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think deeply. But I think what I'm gonna do anyway is I'm gonna sketch out a couple more pages, so I'll know what I could do with it, and if it looks cool enough, I'll just draw some more pages. But really, the biggest thing that I want to do, I just want to get these the layout pencils finished so I can go back into all my previous pages and really start to put the work in to making this stuff look good, and I want to at least get a couple of pages ready for the photocopy people, so I can start inking as well, kind of multitasking like a madman. So anyway, that's where I'm at. And any other bit of news before I go? Sorry, this ended up being a long video anyway. So let's see. Well, this month, since I am a janitor working for the school system, one good benefit is I'll be off like a week or two in November, and so I'm really hoping this will give me more time to work on pages and stuff like that, and get some stuff done that I'm really wanting to do, and kind of mess around and study some of my martial art books and that sort of thing, and get caught up on techniques. And let's see, what else? And since I'm talking about martial arts, I'll run through this right quick. I'll be testing for my black belt in a couple months, give or take. And honestly, it'll probably end up being like another year, because that's how my luck always runs. And I've already paid like a couple $100 for my black belt test, and I had to save up for that too. But this is a really old book. Well, not super old, but it came out sometime in the early 80s. I could be wrong about that. And I actually paid like $100 for this book online because it's actually like a collector's item. Now, this says Kuksu-Wan. I do Hapkido. Kuksu-Wan and Hapkido are kind of one and the same. Some people would disagree with that. The difference between regular Hapkido and Kuksu-Wan is Kuksu-Wan has Kung Fu in it. Has Kung Fu stuff in it, okay? And, my teacher, his lineage, going back to Chicago, his lineage goes to Kuksul, and he also trained with other people who just do pure Hapkido, I guess, and some other Kuksu people and so forth and so on. But I figured it'd just be interesting to show you this book right quick. Gosh, I'm learning Korean, by the way. I can't read this yet, but I'm learning how to speak it. 안녕하세요, 잘 지냈어요, 저는 잘했으니요, so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so one last bit, and then I'll leave you alone, because but for my black belt test, I have to learn all this stuff on these pages, like stances, cross blocking, all such stuff. Wrist escapes, not really. Falling techniques, foundational forms. There's like probably about 10 forms that I have to know, and they get more complicated as you progress in the art. Kibonsu techniques, there's like 15 of those, 11 Somaksu, 13 Ubaksu, Ansumaksu, there's 6 of those. There is 15, Yeah, there's 15. There's 15 McChiggy, 15 McChuggies. Oh, gosh. And middle level Samaksu techniques, there is 7 of those. Advanced Ubaksu, there's like 20, I think, 21. The Ibaksu, it's divided into 2 sets, so basically 10 techniques of one, 10, it's 20 altogether. Kwanjuki, there's 15. Tuki, there's 15. Jopki, 15. Bangtuki, I can't remember, but I haven't done the math, but there's more techniques than that. But basically, I have to know about close to about 200 or 300 techniques for my test. And like right here, here's Samaksu stuff. No, actually, this is not Samaksu. This is Kibonsu. Okay, in tack stance, grab the wrist. You're flipping the arm up and over this way. Here's a close-up of the technique. They fall, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's Hapkido. So I just want to show you all that. Not really relevant to what's going on, but just kind of sharing, kind of vlogging a little bit. Sorry I ranted a little bit. I hope this was interesting. I've got a couple of replies here lately, and I will write you all back. And I do read every single thing that everybody writes me, So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, want to support me or whatever, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to keep up to date on all the latest shenanigans and videos and things I got coming out, please remember to follow and subscribe for more. As always, this is CB Smallwood, and I'll see you guys in the next video.